right, we had so many people that we crashed the channel. Uh, hopefully you can hear me now. Hopefully I'm moving. Hopefully there's cookies to be enjoyed. All right. No idea what happened. So in the epic movie Strange Brew, Brewmeister Smith, played by veteran actor Max von Sydow, has a line in the movie where he says, "There's no scientific explanation for it, therefore it's pointless to worry." That is what I think about every time technical difficulties happen. It's just like, there's no explanation for this. I even know something about software. I give you a dumb explanation probably, but so it's pointless to worry. There you go. So yeah, I just think it's hilarious that this like classically trained actor and Max von Sydow ends up working on Strange Brew, which is kind of funny because I think Strange Brew is really, I think it's Macbeth with the Mackenzie brothers, basically, or like the plot premise is really the Macbeth thing. So hilarious. All right, so I got 25 minutes on the clock. We blew 6 minutes with technical difficulty wrangling. And actually, maybe we should should we look for inspiration, or do I have? We'll look for inspiration. And then we'll do Roshi Jones' dedication to merit at the end here. I'll remember that. So that's in Roshi Jones In a Moment, in a Breath card set. So this is and then what are the chances that we get C-Flow? I actually was doing C-Flow in the airport. That was a funny thing, minus all the baby crying. So doing the meditation from the airport seemed like a good idea at the time. It didn't necessarily work out that way, but now we've done it. All right. And Feel Flow. Okay, we're real close to C-Flow. What would be the next card? Oh, All Rest. Ooh, that would have been interesting. All right, so was the airport good? Okay, thank you, Marjorie. I was feeling like I may have just wasted everybody's time with it. Okay, so Feel Flow. Yeah, I do think to the point in chat, it was a good equanimity practice. Yeah, I do. I think travel actually is becoming more and more an equanimity practice for me, which I need. All right, so flow is the changingness of our experience. So the changes in temperature, the changes in sensations, the movement of your concentration within the body. So feel is the category, would be physical sensations and emotional body sensations. Well, here, let me do this. There. All right. So I'm going to do a thumbnail later. So that is the quick thumbnail for this. So in the realm of See, Hear, Feel, we're in the category of feel and emotional body sensations, physical body sensations, and then the changingness of those is the flow component. That's the fast version. Hopefully that makes sense. And then I was jokingly, I call this the striker, but I say I invite the bell, so maybe this is the inviter, or this is the invitation. But we'll ring the bell. Let me start the timer. Well, 25 minutes sit. I didn't introduce myself. I didn't do any of that stuff. I don't know. If you're watching this and you don't know who I am, I'm Andy, or Andrew, sorry. And we're going to meditate. There you go. We have started. Ooh. That was a good one. All right. So really, the sequence I use at the beginning of a sit is something if it resonates with you, you could use it in your day when you want to change from sort of one, when you're making a transition. So you're kind of moving from one thing to another, just setting up our posture for a moment. We're aiming for upright without being uptight. So the shoulders over the hips, natural curve to the spine. Ideally, the feet are flat on the floor if you're in a chair, sitting symmetrically. I'll focus on the chair or cushion or bench, but you could be standing, lying down, or walking. It's all equally valid postures for meditation. And it sounds funny to say this, but just taking the posture, sometimes I feel a state change. Sort of what do I mean by that? A shift in how I basically feel, hear, and see, like in all of that. And a brief checking in on kind of what are we bringing into the sit with us, metaphorically. We're not trying to chase away any of the emotional sensations or thinking, we're just acknowledging them. Doing a little bit of tension spotting. It's the end of my workday, so I've got a bit of tension in my neck, a little tiredness around the eyes. And again, not chasing the tension away, but more or less acknowledging it. Finally, a few deliberate breaths. Slow and low is the tempo that we're going for. Breathing in through the nose allows us to breathe low into the belly. And as that inhale turns around and becomes the exhale, seeing if we can extend and accentuate it. So for our sit today, the body is really our boundary of focus. Everything inbounds is body. So physical sensations, heat, cold, itches, soreness, and the indecision of dinner, the discomfort of tomorrow, of thinking about tomorrow, all of the emotions that are in the body that don't necessarily have words, all within our focus range. So if we hear things, we have mental talk, see things, those are all opportunities for us to acknowledge that we're out of our focus range, and then bringing our attention back into the body. Some aspect of the body will be available for us to note and label. Again, for our practice, feel. Working for both feel in and feel out. Just feel. And if there's a changing quality, something in the body is flowing, we would note and label that flow. The label is optional, but it supports our concentration and really soaking into where we're concentrating. So that's our technique. We're set up to practice. I'll let you explore on your own and offer a few cues in the middle. And so if you're struggling with sounds pulling you away or some other sense category that's sort of dominating, seeing just if you can kind of be less rigid with the frustration around that would be a starting point of exploration. But maybe using a little bit of working with a home base in the body, something that gives you a stable concentration point. So maybe that's the sense of the body, pressure of the body, felt sense of the pressure of the body in the seated posture. Maybe it's focusing on the breath, maybe even counting your breaths. And then when it feels right, kind of shifting back to feel flow. And so what are we doing? We're building up a bit of concentration power and then moving back to the technique. So that's the strategy there. All right, and then we're going to finish with putting our technique up on the shelf with care and move into do nothing. What are we doing with do nothing? We're letting go of any of our intentions to control our attention. And if we notice that we're sort of counting our breaths and we let go of it and we're counting our breaths, just letting that activity of the mind go. So shifting into do nothing. And I'll invite the bell to signal the end of our sit. May this practice nourish each thing in all realms and truly benefit all beings. So, pulled from here. So, dedicating the merit. Thank you for spending time here. Thank you for your patience with the technical difficulties. I know you have other places you could be, and I appreciate that you are here. So, thank you. So I gave a cue about focusing on the body, mainly because I basically focus out in here space with auditory so much that the clock was really like pulling me in tonight. And so I found myself getting pulled to the clock and then coming back to the body and pulled to the clock, and coming back to the body and going back and forth. So if that generates frustration, which is what it was generating for me, I always try to remember that that's cross training for like it's just like more concentration curls, bicep curls. So mixing all sorts of metaphors, but anyway, so if you caught that cue and you were wondering where that was coming from, that's where that was coming from. So the idea being like you gather sort of, it's like a gathering of attention. You'll sometimes hear, because of the one-pointedness of Vipassana and in that approach, you'll hear teachers like Sharon Salzberg talk a lot about bhavana, which is this like inclining the mind in a particular direction. And that's what you're doing in that situation. Like yes, exactly, Paul. So you're gathering the attention, creating a stability and allowing it to be in the background. And then that allowing it to be in the background, now you've shifted into the equanimity practice, which was, if you didn't get a chance, that was the focus of Home Base with Jeff last week, featuring a drawing from Brooke. So that's cool. Jeff, my understanding is I am the backup for Sunday, but I think Jeff is going to be your host for Sunday. So Jeff is got the combination retreat and family vacation going on. So this Sunday, the 29th, it's the last Sunday of June. If you can believe it, June is almost over, which is just wild. But yeah, that was the West Coast. I'm totally spacing on what where it is in my head. I can't think of it. Hollyhock, Cortez Island. So interesting. I don't know much. Oh, Bowen Island? Interesting. Hollyhock is on Cortez Island, so there is a comma missing. Interesting. Okay, yeah, and so that's in BC. Beautiful British Columbia, I believe, is the motto. Okay, all right. So Ruth is up to speed on this more than I am, clearly. Thank you, Ruth. Appreciate that. But so I think that Jeff is going to be good, but I am the backup. So there's a reasonable possibility you'll see me on Sunday. If you have a theme that has not been on the Do Nothing Project in a while, you are welcome to email me your theme idea. If you are not, I sent out an email about 30 minutes before this. And if you're not on the mailing list for that, you can also send me a message and I will add you to that list. You're always welcome to email me back and say, hey, you can take me off this list. That's always an option. And then I think like 96% of the folks that are here on Wednesdays are subscribers. But if you're not a subscriber, it would be a super help if you did subscribe. So for some reason you've been like, I don't know about that Andrew guy, subscribing would be beneficial. You can always like. That is a nice way that occasionally I get bumped into people's suggestions. So that's kind of nice. Right now, Ralph has the highest viewed video, I think, for the last 90 days, and the Wabi Sabi clock is second. So Ralph is ahead of the Wabi Sabi clock, which is it's always tough competition, the Wabi Sabi clock. So there is your summary on the social sort of front. And then if for some reason you're on Instagram, I'm trying to figure out if there's a way to make posting on Instagram and everything else easier. I'm playing around with trying to get posts and stuff on Leonard's coaching, and yeah, so maybe I'll be getting more things out soon, and then if I can get some things put together. I've had a few things that are crossovers from the meditation world, and also audiobooks I've liked and podcasts that I've liked recently. And I'm trying to figure out a way to do that kind of stuff as a mental outlet to keep my sanity. Maybe is my one selling point. So we'll see if any more experiments come. And then the last thing is I have not forgotten about putting together some sort of virtual slideshow for our Central Asia trip. So that is a thing in my head too. Next week, I will be broadcasting from somewhere in North Carolina on Wednesday. So we're doing a little North Carolina trip to visit family, or my girlfriend's family, and so I'll be broadcasting from there. So yeah. And there are more pictures that I could be putting on Instagram, and I haven't put them on. There's a lot of car pictures at the moment. There are a lot of baseball stadium pictures and things like that. So yeah. I am going back through my others. There may be more than one 57 Bel Air in there, Ruth. So I have my grandfather owned Buicks, and so my family in general has a fondness for 50s Buicks, and then it's I don't know, it's there's just some cars that pull at me. I've wanted to have a 50s Ford truck for the longest time. I had a 67 Ford truck for a while. So anyway, I'm cars have a tug on me. So it's always fun to go to that show and get a chance to see everything. So yeah. All right. Well, have the top of the hour is rapidly approaching. Thank you again. I'm honest. I know you have other places to be, and I really appreciate you being here. So see you in the chat on Sunday, or maybe on the screen. One way you'll see me. So bye now.